Trump has a knack for messing up everything in his life. His marriages, his companies, and of course, his presidency. Harry Enton dropped the hammer on Trump today with a bombshell poll showing that his invasion of LA has completely backfired on him. Check this out.
Where are we? Well, I think we can say that Donald Trump has lost the political battle when it comes to what has happened out in Los Angeles. Donald Trump's net approval rating on the Los Angeles protest. Look at this. Overall, way underwater at minus 15 points. How about among independents or those who don't identify with either major party? Way even lower. Look at that, minus 24 points on the net approval rating. And of course, this is happening on what should be one of Donald Trump's, in fact, the best issue for Donald Trump, immigration. And yet, when it comes to these Los Angeles protests, 15 points underwater overall and 24 points underwater among independents. No good.
What is the broader view of how Trump is acting and what he's doing when it comes to these arrests of immigrants?
Right. So, you see these numbers with concern to the Los Angeles protests, but let's widen it out a little bit. And I think this sort of paints a picture for you in understanding why Donald Trump's net approval rating on the Los Angeles protests are as low as they are. Take a look. Trump and immigrant arrests. He's gone too far. That's the winner here, 49%. Not too far, only 40%. So you got a 9-point lead here. And again, among those independents or other category, you see 51% of them say Trump's gone too far. And what's so important to note is that this poll was taken after the Los Angeles protests started. So this takes into account everything that's gone on in Los Angeles. At this particular point, if the protesters' idea was to focus the attention on Donald Trump and bring attention to his immigration policies and bring attention to the arrests that have been occurring of immigrants, it seems to me that those protests have been successful because you see here, 49% say Trump's gone too far when it comes to the immigrant arrests compared to just 40% who say he's not gone too far. And you don't have to be a mathematical genius to know 49% is larger than 40%.
By quite a bit. All right. How are people feeling, Americans in general, about ICE in general as they're seeing what has been happening across the country, but specifically in Los Angeles?
Yeah, okay, so let's take a look here, right? More ICE raids at workplaces, right? These workplaces where immigrants perhaps are here illegally are working. Look, 45% approve, but again, what's the winner here? 54%. 54% disapprove of the idea of more ICE arrests. And this, again, goes to what these protests were all about in the first place, these ICE arrests at work. And it does seem, again, that the American people are with the protesters on this. You see here the majority saying that they disapprove of more ICE raids at workplaces. And I think it's so important to note, ICE has historically actually been rated fairly favorably, but their favorable ratings have been going down as these raids have been going up.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest issues that Donald Trump, it was like the second most important issue that Donald Trump won the election on,
That's
which was
right.
immigration.
This is his core issue, and he's losing on his core issue at this point. Again, he is losing in these protests.
Trump isn't going to like this reporting one bit. It's only a matter of time before he blasts off on another rant, calling this a fake CNN poll. He's already kind of responded by pinning this clip from Newsmax, America's most credible news network.
What, are you kidding me? 56% approval in a brand new Rasmussen poll for President Trump. 56% of the American people think he's doing a great job. That is a landslide. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's incredible, as in not credible at all. Rasmussen leans right, so these numbers are already suspect, but seeing as how everybody on the right is pandering to keep Donnie from blowing up, you can bet that Newsmax here ran this segment like keys dangling in front of Trump to keep him happy. But we all have social media. We can see ICE chasing down day laborers at Home Depot, and that's pretty antithetical to the American dream. Even GOP lawmakers are seeing the writing on the wall. Americans voted for deportations, but they didn't necessarily vote for this. That's the headline coming out of CNN. At least 4 House Republicans have cautioned against Trump's approach. Representative David Valadao of California said that the administration should prioritize the removal of known criminals over the hardworking people that have lived peacefully in the valley for years. Representative Carlos Jimenez of Florida cautioned against deporting people that have been here for a while. Rep. Mario Diaz-Balart of Florida suggested that some of the people being rounded up could have legitimate asylum claims about the dangers of returning to their home countries. Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas told Jake Tapper that he worried about deportations targeting the milker of cows who's, in 103-degree weather. He added, if you're going down where, you're just going to pick up everyone who's here illegally, that takes away from tackling the biggest problem in our country, which, in my eyes, is the convicted criminal that makes all of us unsafe. The fact that these are Hispanic Republicans clearly stands out, given Hispanics are often the target of Trump's deportation. Now, while the Trump administration claimed that they're going after the criminals and the murderers and the cartel members, in reality, it looks like that was another one of Trump's big lies. Here's some reporting from a man named Chris Webb out of California. ICE at Home Depot on Sunset this morning. Sidebar, yesterday I said to a friend from East LA, at some point these masked anonymous ICE agents are going to roll up on the wrong people and get capped. She said she was told ICE is purposefully avoiding gang areas for their own safety. That says it all. Trump claimed he'd go after criminals and big talk about deporting gangs, but they're out here targeting workers and families while steering clear of actual gangs. Talk about a MAGA hoodwinked. You guys tell me if this looks like ICE cracking down on murderers and thieves or just brown people making a living.
Several people were running upwards Wilton's place. I informed them that ICE agents were around the area. They were aware of that, and then that's when an SUV pulled up, came out, 2 agents tackled down a individual with no questions. They placed his face into the dirt, physically apprehended him.
And we reached out to officials for more details on today's raid. They said while they can't comment on every single operation, these raids continue on a daily basis, and that today's raid was routine federal immigration law enforcement operation. You're out here. We've been seeing the gentleman who's been very emotional. His wife was detained. He has no idea where she was taken. But you said some of the people detained today were also your neighbors.
That's right. My neighbors unfortunately got taken. They are not bad people. They are not criminals. They are hard workers. They came here for a better life because that's what the United States is about, right? You have freedom. You come here for a better life because unfortunately you run from countries, your own home. That's not the best, right? You come here looking for a better life. You come here for sanctuary. You come here to think that you're going to make it out here. But unfortunately, with these people coming and taking our own people, the people that constructed California, the people that work for California, the people who do a lot for us, right? They're taking them. What are you going to do when we're not here? What are you going to do when you have nobody left to work with?
And the woman you mentioned who was taken, she's pregnant?
She's actually pregnant. That's the saddest part. She's pregnant. She must have been scared. You don't know if this is going to cause you stress to her baby. You don't know if she might lose the baby from the shock.
Quick question, and I don't mean to come across as insensitive, but this is part of the Trump administration's mandate. President making it clear that anyone who's here, who's not here legally, that this is going to be a part of the process, as inhumane as many may categorize it. There is another argument to that.
I feel like it's wrong. Like I said, they're saying that they're going to take everybody, but why everybody when you have actual criminals that were born here and who have done way worse stuff, and yet they don't get the same punishment we're getting? Why is that? I want an answer to that, seriously. Why is it that criminals can get away with so much who are born here, criminals, and yet our people are innocent? They're working hard. They're doing stuff to make it out here, right?
And the data is there to back up what our eyes clearly see. According to internal documents obtained by CNN, less than 10% of immigrants taken into ICE custody had criminal convictions. We know that it's unpopular to be rounding up random dads and abuelitas who might have been late to submitting a form or missed a hearing, so they lie and they say that they're targeting criminals. Here's the data. Few ICE detainees are convicted of the most serious crimes. Less than 10% of the roughly 185,000 people booked into ICE custody have been convicted of serious crimes. Only 752 had murder convictions, and only 15,000 had serious crimes out of 185,000. But on the ground in LA, by contrast, immigration advocates say they have heard of more workers and longtime residents with no prior arrests or convictions getting detained in ICE operations. We are seeing huge amounts of people with no prior contact with the criminal or immigration system picked up, said Eva Bitron, the director of immigration rights for the American Civil Liberties Union of Southern California. It is very contrary to the story that the secretary is telling. But seeing as how Stephen Miller is the one who's really in charge of Trump's immigration policy, and how Miller is also determined to be America's version of Goebbels, I don't think they're going to reverse course on this ship anytime soon. But if they don't, they might just sink the whole damn thing. I'm Tony Hinderman with Really American, and I'll catch you next time.